Good morning, everyone. It's the 3rd of November. We're Signal Centre Talking Ball. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Ian Coleman and Steve O'Hare. Good morning,
Morning, guys.
gentlemen.
Good morning.
How's
You're
your
quite
election
quiet,
day?
Joe.
Am I?
Yeah.
Is that any
It's all
better?
I can hear Ian really well, but you're
Oh.
really background.
Okay.
Maybe you're just softly spoken lad, maybe.
Yes, quite
Yeah.
possibly. Okay, so how are we ahead of the US election day today? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Bunkering
Some
down,
powerful
we are.
moves.
I prefer to be here than there, put it that
Yeah.
way.
Some powerful moves in markets today, by the looks of things, ahead of it.
Yeah, it's quite aggressive. I think the market's thinking that it's positive for stocks either way, at least in the short term. But like we were saying yesterday, it could take 12 days longer to get the results through. I mean, on the Bloomberg sort of email this morning, they were saying that it's down to a few sort of key states that it could take a couple of days, but I don't know.
I think it's all going to be down to whether or not Trump accepts it one way or the other, isn't it? I mean, that's...
Well, he's saying that he wants the winner to be announced this evening or Tuesday night their time. So
he's just going to put the pressure on and try and say that he's won,
maybe.
without the full situation being
Yeah,
understood.
it's happened before, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean,
Bush did it, didn't he?
Against Al Gore, I think, back in 2006.
Back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, it is. I mean, the sort of the media has such a sort of like influence, and you get the news channel on your side, then they sort of just announce it.
Well, he owns, or pretty much has Fox in his pocket, doesn't he? I think the others are a little bit more centralist, but I mean, every time I log into Twitter and see his latest sort of tweets, I just can't believe that Twitter allow him to publish some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
What was his latest one then?
Well, it's a barrage of tweets, but a lot of it just seems to be making some really outrageous claims about Biden and what he will do and what he won't do. It just feels a little bit, well, just lying, basically.
No, that's what he does, though, isn't it? It's underhand, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, the audience he has on Twitter and the people that see this, there will be, a certain amount of influence that he is. I mean, I don't know if I can show any examples of this. Let me just try and share a screen. Not that one. I mean, it's relentless the amount of tweets he does, but there was a couple. I don't know if he's deleting them or what. Saying Joe Biden will do this. Biden has vowed to abolish the American oil and natural gas industries and ban fracking. I mean, it is relentless. I mean, yeah, Joe Biden would do this. Joe Biden would do that. He's attacked Black Americans. So just how, I don't know. Feels crazy that he's allowed to do these sort of things, but I guess that's the world we live in nowadays.
Yeah.
Anyway, we won't know what's going to happen with that until obviously overnight. We expect to maybe get some of the exit polls, but I think it's going to be a couple of days before anything happens. Just with regards to equity markets, they all look pretty rosy this morning ahead of that, although we have seen JP Morgan Chase strategists drop their long-time preference for technology stocks no matter who wins the vote. So they're the sort of first out the box to say they're scared and they're worried and they think that maybe it's time to come out of tech stocks, which has pretty much been the only thing that's led these markets higher over the last few months. Steve, what are we looking like on the charts? You mentioned just before we came on air that you think that the Nasdaq could be potentially forming this top pattern.
Yeah, I think, and Ian sort of suggested that expects the market to move higher, which I sort of agree with. I think we're going to have a real sort of roller coaster event, and but I'm sort of overall, I think with a sensible head on your shoulders, you've got to look at all what's going on and think the world has gone mad, America's gone mad, and it's crazy, and the markets aren't going to sort of just reflect the result. They're going to be, they're going to be sort of influenced by the powers that be as well. So on the weekly chart, I really like this head and shoulders formation. It's my sort of like, I don't know, it's one of those moments that you sort of think this is really, really obvious. When things are really obvious, they tend to really slap you around the face before they play out. So that's why I sort of tend to agree
That
with
reverse
Ian.
trend line looks quite nice, doesn't it?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
from the breakout channel, yeah.
Yeah.
I've just, I mean, all I've got some sim patterns, some cipher patterns that which would just basically highlight a reverse, not a reversal, a correction. But you could get quite a decent correction. So
yeah, I mean, the 4-hour chart.
I think timing's going to be everything this week.
I think the 4-hour chart, if you look here, you've got potential for a double bottom. That will have a measured move up to here. And again, then you'll sort of run into sort of confluence resistance areas. So even if we put we could easily expect a sort of reversal to the 11,460 level. And that even as high as 11,755. So you're talking of, a really, really decent reversal.
The nice pivots all the way up as well, aren't they? When you look at that chart, they're all previous swing lows or previous swing highs.
Yeah, and so even here, potential for a reverse head and shoulders, whatever. But I'm just sort of like, it sort of going with my gut on this, and I think we are going to have this head fake rally. Almost like a dead cat bounce, because I am sort of like, I do think the technicals will win over on this one, and we could get the breakout a little bit further down the line, maybe even after a sort of double right shoulder. And you're talking over 1,000 points higher before we sort of do come off. But this is what I'm looking for on the sort of like medium term picture, and obviously, as we know, this the results may take a few weeks to play out. So for me, the technology sector has had an incredible rise, way above, I think, way above the sort of the real valuations, and it's going to have that's going to be the one that falls the hardest. But we talked about this FTSE channel the other week. And we talked about the rejection here and the move down towards the low, and it sort of like wasn't far away from actually being pit perfect, and we're getting this nice recovery and correction coming in this week. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a move up towards the 6,000 level before it reverses again. DAX has been a bit under pressure. That we've talked about the head and shoulders formation here in a similar way to the Nasdaq. CAC has also been under pressure. There's been a lot of bad news coming out of France this week with the attacks on all over the country. So that's not good. And again, a sort of like another reverse trend line we could look at in the Dow. But yeah, that's what my instinct is telling me, that we will get a rally, but I will be looking for the real sort of like break of support, and I may have to wait a few days. I was short of it yesterday, traded, and pretty much ended up flat. I wanted to cover it before the close. It's you seem to get some decent sort of like opportunity even from the short side when it rallies. So that's me, the big bad bear. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Steve. Ian, do you want to run us through some FX charts?
Yeah, I just want to quickly sort of reiterate what Steve's saying. I just want to look at these two. So it's the US 30, which is basically the Dow, and then the NAS. So this is what I think is the big picture on the Dow, which is frightening, which is a move all the way down to here. But we're just getting this edge up. And if we go to the intraday chart, this was what I was saying, a short-term correction to sell into. This is a confluence area here. We've just come short and we're just moving up. So I think the short-term picture is bullish, but that long-term chart looks frightening. And that if that plays out, that's going to be pretty horrendous. And then Nasdaq is pretty similar. So the NAS you've got this short-term bounce from this confluence area. Again, it was not pit perfect, but it wasn't far off. So sort of a short-term bounce here. But when you look at this long-term picture, again, it's quite hideous. I mean, what's that in percentage terms? Info line. That's 30% off from current levels. So reflecting that back onto the dollar index.
That makes me feel even more confident about what I just talked about.
yeah. So I think, and like I said, I think it's only going to be short term. I mean, the trouble with cipher patterns, it's nice seeing that obviously the different time frames giving you different outlooks. But when you're bullish in one time frame and bearish on the other, where do you sell the bullish time frame? If you see what I mean, because cipher patterns don't have an actual level where you should sort of sell into them, if you know what I mean. So you have to look for another inside cipher pattern to try and work it out. So anyway, the dollar index, we talked about this sort of multi-time frame. This is played out nice. So basically 88.6% was the 8-hour fib retracement, which is common for a right shoulder. So we could see a move all the way down to here. And then if we go to this time frame, and this was the gun to the head yesterday. So even though it didn't really play out in our time frame, it's had a good move lower. So again, a decent sort of fib area to the downside. What I'm slightly concerned about this morning is just how strong this sell-off becomes, because we have got a confluence area here. So we've got a wedge breakout. That's the target level for the wedge, just above Steve's 93.13 level. But I wonder if we just move down, and again, it's going to be choppy, sort of hit this confluence area, move back up, maybe sort of a little bit of a disjointed head and shoulders. So sort of going like this, if you like. So down and then up and then down again. So I was just expecting pretty volatile trading. If you go back onto sort of euro dollar, and again, this was let's go into the bigger time frame. So this was the fib level confluence area that we talked about yesterday. It spiked through. It spiked through overnight as well. So you got like a double bottom on the intraday chart, and it's just starting to move up. But again, I think it'll be pretty volatile. We've got previous support here, 116.88. We're just using that as resistance here. And if we go into shorter time frames, I'll just drop it down to 45. We've got all these various confluence areas. So I wouldn't get in now. I'd look, if you're looking to buy into euro dollar, I'd look for dip buying. Cable has sort of stalled a little bit, I was going to say, at this trend line. But again, the big picture here, if this plays out, let's go to 2-hour chart, is all the way up here, which is at 131.80. So it's the start of the wedge. Again, I've not put any fibs on here yet to see what sort of choppy price action we're going to get. Dollar Swiss, again, decent confluence area up here, started to move down. That's nothing to do with Swiss francs. It's all to do with the dollar. In fact, all of these moves are nothing to do with base currencies. They're all to do with dollar and yen at the moment. And if we go to Aussie Yen, we're getting a really nice kick up as those commodities, as the carry trade sort of builds again on stocks moving to the upside, and haven't really got anything in the way of resistance until up here, which is about 76 a figure. So I think
crazy, doesn't it? People
it's a risk on
risk ahead of this. Can't get my head around it really.
Yeah, but then again, in that report yesterday, you know, the incumbent party, if so stays in, then it's normally positive for stocks. And there was that report yesterday saying that a lot of fund managers are looking at a Biden win being positive for stocks. So
is that because they're long?
Yes, basically they've bought down here somewhere off the chart. So
all of a sudden they're bullish. You know?
Yeah, but Trump won't be able to manipulate the markets anymore either, will he?
Well, he's going to have one last go, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you guys for the comprehensive roundup of the charts. I mean, you know, in terms of how to play it today, clearly there is massive risk because of obviously the event itself, but some opportunities it would seem, and you know, some potentially big moves on the in the offering depending on what happens. In terms of gun to the head stuff yesterday,
Well
it
done, Joe.
led to the dollar making some big moves, and obviously we was all sort of tied up in the dollar in our positions. Ian, you were short of dollar index. A lot of sideways movement on that throughout most of the day, but as you said, it started to tick lower towards the close of play, or to the 9 o'clock close when we shut off our trade. So you made 1.3R there.
Nice.
Steve naturally lost because you were going against what Ian was doing. And we had a decent win on dollar CAD,
Well done.
2.13R.
That's really gone overnight as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at that and how that looks on my chart. So
I think
let's
out of
just
all the
compare
dollar
that.
pairs that I've seen, that's the most favourable now, even from current positions.
Well, that was the chart I was playing yesterday.
Ooh.
So the black line I've got here was the 9 o'clock close. And it's just gone and smashed the original target it had on that. But obviously we shut it off at 9 o'clock, so that's that. Who's got a trade idea for us today?
No.
I'll go
I don't mind
last.
go. I'll go
Go on
Aussie first today. What I was liking the looks of this Aussie Yen. So here's a daily. First of all, we've got a breakdown of this wedge, possibly a top forming, but I mean, really powerful candle over the last couple of days. So I don't know. As I said, I just can't get my head around the fact that people are piling into risk here. So I'm going to try and call a top on Aussie Yen. So this is the hourly chart. I've got some resistance here from previous lows. So we broke down. Now we're seeing a retest. It's also a 61.8 from this swing high here down to these lows. It doesn't appear to be slowing down at the minute. But I'm going to try and step in front of this train and sell it here at 74.32. Going to target a move down to these lows here at 73.14. Stop loss is a difficult one because it is moving so fast. Just going to go above that high there, which is at 74.64. So 3.83R from current levels.
Good luck.
Super risky, but we'll see how that works out. Who's next?
I've got one. I'm just going to jump on your dollar CAD from yesterday. I don't think this train is stopping anytime soon. 131.68 getting short. I'm looking for. You got a conflict. Might bounce here a little bit, especially if that dollar index hits the 261.8% fib. But I think the long-term picture's down here, which is another confluence area. So 131.68, targeting 129.95 with a stop above today's swing high at 132.36. Gives me a mere 2.5R.
It will do though, won't it?
Yes.
Steve, what you got?
I'm going to go with oil. Obviously, as you say, we're having this unusual strong move. So I'm going to buy oil.
Is the dog busy?
What's he doing? What's he doing?
Squeaking away.
Oh, that is him actually. He's sort of telling me to sell it. Oh dear, I'm really sort of confused now. So we've had this oil, we've had this bullish outside day yesterday, and I got off to a good start this morning. So let's jump on it now. Maybe a little bit late to the party. 87.87 trading. Get long there. We're going to have a really tight stop because I'm going to go for it. 37.67. And 87, 38, 87. So a mere 5-1. Getting long here, but a really tight stop. 37.67 stop. Getting long at 37.87 and targeting 38.87.
Okay,
Good luck.
Right, okay, so in terms of what we can expect today, obviously front and centre is going to be the election, but we also have US factory orders due out at 3 o'clock. Orders expected to rise 0.5% month on month. Overnight, highlights included a Japanese bank holiday and also the latest RBA rate decision. They led the way with a 150 basis point cut to 0.1%. And in the
And it's
coming week,
gone
we
up.
also have, yeah, we also
And
have
it's
Bank of
flown.
England and Fed delivering their monetary policy decisions as well. So, highly charged week in terms of what's going on. Also, RBA announced a fresh bond buying program. I've just seen that on the news as well. Plans to purchase 100 billion over the next 6 months. So, lots
Could have
going
something
on.
to do with the stock market rally, to be fair.
Yeah, possibly. Anything else, gents?
No,
Nope.
all good.
Okay, great. Well,
Batten down the hatches, get the old
yeah.
tin hat on, and
Thank God we're over here.
I'd normally say today is the sort of day you should go and play golf or go to the pub.
Pissing down
Oh,
rain
you
there, and I can't
first.
go
Yeah,
either.
that's not good out there.
But the pub is closed.
Yeah.
Yes. Not yet. We've still got
No,
pubs
we've
open
got a
till
couple of
Thursday.
days.
Yeah, but you don't want to go with your kids and your missus, do you? You want to go with the lads.
Yeah.
We're not live still, are we?
Yeah.
Still live.
Hi, Tracy.
Lads.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's wrap it up there. Let's see what happens today, and whether or not we've got any clarity tomorrow morning when we come in. I suspect not, but you never know. So have a good day in the meantime, and best of luck.
Yeah,
Cheers.
enjoy. Good luck.
See you later.
Cheers,
Bye.
lads. Bye.